Hello? Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. You may remember me from the Learning Annex. We took a class together and throwing pottery. If not, I'll just reintroduce myself now. I'm Margaret. I'm the host of Talking with Famous People. And it's very nice to meet you. I've heard about you for a long time. A lot of people in the world have heard about you because you're the main guy in more than one of the world's religions. So it gives you pretty good exposure. You're going to be pretty well known. All right, so I'm bringing up the old live stream of Root on the old Chatteroo on this live stream entitled ROTFLMAO or BWAHAHA. ROTFLMAO or BWAHAHA? You be the judge. Which is the correct one to use today? Is today more of a ROTFLMAO day or more of a BWAHAHA day? You decide. I'm leaving it all up to you because you are the sunshine of my heart. Dan, I'm singing to you. Winston's mom, you as well. So, the actual internet word that should be put here is SMH. Because I just watched USC get their asses whooped by Notre Dame. After I told Rachel, I said, write this prediction down. USC is going to win this game by at least 14 points. I cannot believe Notre Dame's favored by 3.5 points. Wow, now I can. I did not know the USC offensive line had been secretly replaced by a bunch of little girls. And the defensive line. Both lines of scrimmage were dominated by Notre Dame. Let me get my magnifying glass because I don't have. I've lost all of my glasses. I still didn't get what I was going for. Okay, go on. Keep going. Or stay inside as you're staying. Okay. Well, I must say that was a very ugly USC football game that we just watched. We watched it together. I still, for the first half, I thought, okay. I just was thinking, okay, they're out scheming us. That's why they're getting so much pressure on Caleb Williams. But as the game continued, I just started to realize, no, they're not out scheming us. Their lines are just destroying our lines. So that was pretty disappointing. Although I will say that the Notre Dame defensive coordinator put together an excellent game plan for stopping USC. Also, Caleb Williams picked a bad day to throw 3 interceptions and have at least 1 fumble. The most interceptions he's ever thrown in his career in a game. So pretty disappointing day for the USC fandom. But, you know, these things happen in life. There's nothing to get too upset about, really. Sometimes your favorite sports team doesn't win. It's the sort of thing that is worth getting sad about. It's been a long day of football. It really started last night, this long day of football. Because I stayed up last night to watch, and it wasn't super late here on the West Coast, but to watch Stanford shockingly come back from a 29-point deficit at halftime and beat Colorado in double overtime. I was stunned. I'm so sorry to hear that, Michelle Way. I know how painful it is to lose a pet. I guess for you, the answer to the title question is neither. I still feel sadness occasionally about a dog that died at least 7 years ago. Hello, Hambone. Hey, you know it's interesting, Hambone, because we were watching the Washington game. Rachel said today, as we were watching it, I hope Hambone's doing well. And I said, yeah, I hope so too. What I said is, well, you know, I take that as basic default towards everybody that I don't substantially hate, right? But so I said, well, I'm going to up you one, Rachel. I'm going to hope he's doing really well. No, that didn't really happen. So answer the pressing question then, please. Are you doing well? Hambone was supposed to be your Bassist name, but then you changed his name to something else? Oh, okay. Well, death is very different when it's at the end of an extended illness than when it's sudden. My dog got hit by a car one day when I was at work. So, anyway. I'm doing well, and in fact, am pretty good. Well, good for you. That's better than being pretty bad. That's 2 steps better than pretty bad. It goes pretty bad, neutral, pretty good. So, yeah. You're just 3 steps away from, no, you're just 1 step away from good. And that's just a step away from great, which is just a step away from fantastic, which is just 1 step away from sublime. So you only have a few steps to go to get to the state of enlightenment called sublime. Not the band, of course. I've got my magnifying glass because I'm planning on doing some detective work tonight, and solve some crimes. And from what I've seen in TV and movies, detectives need a magnifying glass. Oh, good. I see now. The live stream is doing its important work. As always, your presence here has a noted laxative effect on me. Yeah, I definitely get the difference, you know. I had my dad die suddenly. It was incredibly traumatic, and I had my mom die at the end of long illness, and it was a relief, frankly, you know, especially if the loved one, be it a pet or human, is suffering at all. You know, my mom was definitely suffering, I think, at the end of her life. She did everything in her power to prevent exactly what happened to her from happening. Must have been very frustrating. She wants to, oh, like, what the fuck? I did all those things that they said in the magazines to keep your brain sharp, all that kind of shit. And I still got dementia? I mean, what the fuck? I did all that stuff in the magazine. Get it? It's a dementia joke. But, you know, they sure were great people, my parents. And it was also their time, you know. It would be doing the world and each other disservice to feel like it's a bad thing that people go in their time. It's a bad thing when people go prematurely, but that was not the case for either of my parents. And, you know, they lived in a more or less ideal life for the last couple of years. Last few years, maybe. So I'm going to the bathroom now. You may have noticed. I'm going to make sure to tilt this up so you don't see any schlong floppage. Should be safe at that altitude, I think. And now I'm going to put my feet up on the old comfy poop stool here, which is here for this purpose, so that I can feel like I'm at the gynecologist when I poop. I'd like to get some stirrups in here so I could really feel like I'm at the gynecologist when I poop. That'd be great. I'm a gynecologist, not a rhinopsychologist, said the gynecologist when he finally arrived at his destination, only to learn that it was the zoo. I was like, what do you possibly need me here for? What's the big emergency? And they said, our rhinoceros is depressed. So she said, I'm a gynecologist, not a rhinopsychologist. And like, oh, Susan, you were supposed to, I Googled it. You said I Googled rhinopsychologist. Let me see your Google search history. Rhinopsychologist is not spelled with a G-Y. Well, I thought that's how you spell rhino. How could you think you spell rhino G-Y-R? That's an N. No, it's an R. It's a lowercase r. You misspelled gynecologist even. Well, spelling's not my specialty. What? What is your specialty, Susan? I'm a rhinopsychologist. And everybody puts their hands on their hips and says, Susan. I was kind of hopeful that would be poo-inducing laughter, but I may have not given the live stream enough time for its laxative effect to take full impact on me yet. What do you think about that scene writing for like a sitcom, you know? Like a zoo-based sitcom where Dr. Jones comes in and says, "So somebody here called for a gynecologist?" And Susan says, "That was me." Okay, what seems to be the problem? Our rhinoceros is depressed. I'm a gynecologist, not a rhinopsychologist. And then Manny says, "Susan, you were supposed to be in charge of this. What went wrong?" And she says, "I don't know. I Googled it." And he looks at the research and she says, "Rhinopsychologist isn't spelled with a G-Y." And then she says, "Well, it's probably not my specialty." To which Manny asks, "Well, what is your specialty?" She said, "I'm a rhinopsychologist." And everybody said, "Susan." I think that's a good scene for a sitcom. And scene. Well, looks like I'm not going to poo right now. So, I'm just going to go ahead and pee, get up, and let the live stream continue to have its important laxative effect on my body. River, twinkling in the pond. I have to pee a lot, I do. And you, river, a poo giver. At least I wish you were, then I'd have to poo sure. Well, I am now done going to the bathroom. Sad to report, there is no solid waste in the toilet. But you know what they say, if at first you don't succeed, try again. Why they say try twice is unclear. Okay, well, see you later then, Jeff Shaw. Have a good evening. I wouldn't want you to waste your time here. I guess he didn't like my joke.
I'm gonna watch from bread.
Sure, you do your thing.
I love you.
I love you too, darling. I mean, the thing is, Jeff Shaw slash Dan Dan. All I talked about tonight was so far was the idea of a sitcom with a silly joke. How does that have to do with me thinking I'm smart? I wasn't even talking about anything fancy. I was just making a silly joke about rhinoceroses. So, you revealed your hand much too soon. Since I didn't even make any attempt to say anything that even sounded a little bit smart tonight, it's very obvious who you are. And your story about a friend or whatever is just bullshit.
Meow.
You gotta be smarter than that, Dan Dan. Oh, that's right. You're Jeff Shaw. You have a relatively low ceiling. So, who specializes in neck? A gynecologist, a man who specializes in necks. In other words, a practitioner in the logic of necks who's also male. That's what ologist means. A practitioner in the logic of. They need a rhinoplasty? No. No, they don't need any rhinoplasty. They need a rhino psychologist because their rhino doesn't have big nose syndrome. It's got depression. Laxative effects. We have 3 bathrooms. When rolling in the driveway, we all choose which bathroom we will be rushing towards. We also have 3 bathrooms, but one of them is far away. One of them requires you to walk upstairs, so, I think both Rachel and I, by the time we get to the top of the stairs, we're like, ay, ay, ay.
Yeah, sure.
Well, whose idea was this getting a 2-story house?
Yeah.
So I rarely use the upstairs bathroom. Only if Rachel's asleep downstairs and I want to take a shower or a bath, I'll go upstairs to do that. Or, because if I just have to go to the bathroom, I'll just use the middle bathroom here. I'll try to avoid going in there if she's sleeping so I don't bother her, in the bedroom bathroom. So, but since there's a toilet down in here that's not in the bedroom, then then basically I only use the upstairs one when I want to take a bath and Rachel's asleep. Because otherwise you take a shower. I like the shower in the master bath. It's a comfortable shower. It's not a bathtub, but it's got 2 little seats inside of it.
That's nice.
That are built into the frame of the bathtub or shower thing. Not a bathtub, shower. Well, whether or not it needs people to tell somebody they're wrong depends on if they have good reason to believe them wrong. Um, so it's conceivable that whoever was explaining socionics, since street urchin probably doesn't have access to the correct explanation from me and how it's exclusive of socionics, then he may or may not have heard something that required him to object. And not every ENTP is as retarded with their FE as I am. But I will determine what type he is to the best of my ability when I type police him, with the caveat or caveat, depending on how you want to say it. That obviously I can't actually type somebody without actually typing somebody. Well, that's interesting to hear. But we'll see what I think when I watch his videos. Um, I wonder how often people go to eat him and then go like, "Oh, I thought you were a sea urchin. Gross, cannibalism." The Jeff Shaw is a good name for a sandwich. It's got it's got stale bread, onions, and bitterness. Well, don't you worry, Winston's mom. It's salty as shit. Your joke's better than mine. I like that. That's the better punchline for the Jeff Shaw's a good name for a sandwich. Yours is snappy. It's got that NI zing. Unlike stale bread, onions, and bitterness. Although I do like the inclusion of onions in there. Seems like the Jeff Shaw made a sandwich. It just has onions in it. Two pieces of stale bread and just onions in between it. And they're not cut in very small pieces either. It's like big, difficult to bite through pieces of onions. Jeff Shaw. Stale bread and heavily salted onions. Stale bread and heavily salted raw onions is, is I mean, if I saw a sandwich on a menu, actually, forget the stale bread part. Let's say it said like um, aged bread, aged bread, and heavily salted onions, heavily salted raw onions. Is there something about like salty and raw onions that makes it gonna make this taste fantastic or something? I gotta try it. All right, I gotta try the Jeff Shaw. Let me have one. Aged bread, huh? It just seems like it's stale. Well, we don't toast it. I mean, I'm not sure what the rules are right now, but I know that you're limited to a certain number of new accounts per day or per week or something like that. Have you never been one to make sock puppet accounts? I don't really know how it works. Why would I want to say anything other than as me? I don't know why. I wouldn't want to do that. But other people like to do that, so that's fine. Other people are concerned about privacy and things like that. I'm not so concerned about privacy. I'm a lot more concerned about my cypress tree than I am about my privacy. The sandwich has no description or explanation. It just says, and the sandwiches, every other sandwich has a description and explanation. It just says, the Jeff Shaw. And then you ask, what's the Jeff Shaw? They just tell you, it's a sandwich. Yeah, I know it's a sandwich, but like, what's inside of it? Well, if you want it, we don't tell you ahead of time. If you want to find out, you can order it. But I will say there's no money back on this sandwich. No money back? And you won't tell me what it is? No. I will not tell you anything about it, except that it's a sandwich. And it's called the Jeff Shaw. All right, my curiosity has been satisfactorily piqued. I am hereby ordering the Jeff Shaw. This is just stale bread and salted onions. Yep. Huh. This is an interesting little prank you play on your customers here. Yeah, like I said, there's no money back. No, I get it. You made that very clear. I'm not gonna deny that I regret spending $18 on this, but I will pay it. That's not how I feel. After I eat the Jeff Shaw sandwich, I feel like, wow, that was a terrible sandwich. No, the Michelle Shock sandwich is 2 pieces of bread with dickweed eggs inside of it. Hey, Shady's back. You must be Shady. Well, I've become much less sympathetic to Jeff Shaw the more I realized that there are lots of people in the world who are convinced to some extent by those by that kind of intellect theater, and it might cause them to question things they should have no business questioning at all because they make perfectly good sense. Just because he says in some vague way, Eric's not making sense without ever articulating specifically how it is that I'm not making sense, you know? Yes, Side Chic wants a sandwich, for instance, Mom, so go ahead and make her Let's see. Make her a Mr. Bobby. 2 pieces of bread with the blood of Christ and just general fight starting as the contents. Um, well, we do offer gluten-free bread, but it's filled with peanuts. So if you have a peanut allergy, you can't eat the gluten-free bread. I can be the president if I let go of the expectations. I don't really have any expectations that I need to let go of, I can think of. But maybe I do. I'm not sure what you're referring to exactly. I've been working on my manifesto video. I took a bunch of little short videos of takes of sections of the thing I want to put together outside. And, but then I ended up going and redoing most of them today because I wasn't happy with it the way it came out. And so that project's taking a very long time for what's definitely going to be under a 10-minute long video, hopefully under like 6 or so. But I'm pleased at the way I'm working on it, which is to say, I'm not in a hurry to get it done. I want to make sure it comes out right. I know that if I run through it a bunch of times, practice it, different sections, even though I'm thinking like, well, film it anyway because you never know when you're going to just nail a take. But if I go into it thinking, this is probably going to take some extra takes here to clean this up, make it the way I want it to look, and sound and stuff, then I won't feel like it was a waste of time to make it, even if it doesn't do well. I am president of the House. I'm co-president of the House. Rachel and I are co-presidents of several things. We're co-presidents of the Shayla and Galir fan club. We're co-presidents of the International Johnny Week Advisory Board. We're co-presidents of this house. We're co-presidents of everything. Except I'm the president of her vagina. And she's the president of my dick. Or it's more like my dick is the president and her vagina is Monica Lewinsky. Did you know that you can buy poo from the zoo? The Buffalo Zoo has hundreds, if not thousands, of animals. They all poop. Where does it all go? Well, we sell it to you, the viewing public, in souvenir form. You can take home your own bag of authentic giraffe poo as garnish on your meals. Why would you want to buy zoo poo? 3 pounds of poo for $11? Okay, that's like more expensive than most vegetables. Shit should not cost as much as vegetables. I don't think. Like, how much will 3 pounds of oranges cost? Less than $11. How much would 3 pounds of corn cost? Like, a lot less than $11. You expect 3 pounds of shit to cost like 10 cents at most. And frankly, if the zoo wants me to take away their poo, they should be paying me, not the other way around. I don't know where the zoo gets off thinking that they should ask people to pay for the privilege of taking away the zoo's poo. I should call up like the septic tank cleaner outers and say, how much will you pay me for the opportunity to come suck the poo out of my septic tank? I'm sorry, you say, how much will we pay you? Yes. I'm just following the example of the zoo. Now, the zoo, they get approximately, $3.50 per pound of poo. How much per pound of my poo will you pay me? We don't pay for your poo, sir. Well, why do you pay for the zoo's poo then? We don't pay for the zoo's poo. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but whoever's paying for that is very not making a good financial decision. 3 pounds of shit for $11. Oh my God. The things people will try to sell. Can you imagine? Though, I bet whoever came up with that idea, the zoo got a raise. Like, okay, Barbara, look, you're in charge of coming up with a solution to what's really a big financial drain for us, waste disposal. We're spending $180,000 a year to have all the feces from the animals removed. She's like, all right, let's see what I can do to cut costs. And she's like, well, I did a little figuring, and I'm thinking, why don't we sell the poo? For, I don't know, around $4 a pound. If we could do that, then, if we were to say get, I don't know, 20,000 people to buy said poo at, say, 3 pounds a section off, well, then we'd only have to spend $100,000 on getting rid of it. And I was like, instead of paying people to take away the shit, we'll get people to pay us to send it to them. You're gonna light it. I don't have a lighter. Well, this is no South Park episode, Jeremiah Fig. This has really happened. The zoo actually does sell poo. And the people who buy it have recently been designated as animals because they obviously don't have human levels of intelligence and have been afforded their own exhibit space at the zoo. So what comes around goes around. Now you can buy their poo. Aren't those people? Nah, they spent $4 a pound for poo. Okay, I guess there must not be people. There must be dung beetles, I guess. That's what the sign says. Giant soft dung beetles. Yeah, the people are walking out. The husband's like, you know what? I got a strange urge to buy some poo. It's like, honey, no. He's like, it's just a second, I'll be right back. He comes back out, opening this box up, and oh God, oh, smell this. And the zoo people come and get him and put him in the exhibit. Eric has a Eric, he's a way to keep your biome healthy. Oh. I actually don't have a biome. I just have a unome. There's something out there making some scriggly noises in the bushes. No, I don't drink alcohol, actually. How about you? Are you drunk? Or something else? Are you drunk or... Oh. Well, then, like me, you don't drink alcohol. That's why it says edge on it, because it doesn't have any alcohol in it. But if you don't drink alcohol because it's bad for you, then you should say, no, it's bad for me. Apparently, immunocompromised people get fecal implants and it turns their health around. Boy, that sounds like some Middle Ages quackery. I'll wait. I'll wait to see what hateful shit comes out before I already looked at it too. Yeah. It's not bad for everybody. Some people drink alcohol successfully and in appropriate moderation and to good effect. I'm not one of them, but some people are. Oh, what a good kitty. So, tomorrow, Rachel and I are going to do a couple of tasks related to the Christmas party. At the moment, I'm thinking of nixing the catering and getting a different, probably not cook it ourselves solution. Because the price she quoted me is very high for, that. And I'm thinking, well, okay, that's potentially acceptable if we've got like 30 people, but we're not going to have that many people, so I think I'm going to email her tomorrow and say, well, as the invitations are rolling in, we're getting a fairly small attendance, so um, we're going to nix the catering. I haven't put it down in deposit or anything, so it's fine. I did tell her I'd get back to her by the middle of October. It's currently the middle of October. Also, maybe I'll do this tomorrow, but it's technically due on Monday. I have to have my car registration postmarked by the 16th, but I think you can do it online, so I will try to get that done tomorrow. Today was a football day mostly. Interrupted by some sexual intercourse. But it's been a bit of a bad weekend of college football for me. The teams I wanted to win by and large didn't, except Washington, who looked good, and I was very happy for them for beating Oregon in a great game, really good game. Michael Penix Jr. looked really good for a stretch, and then it looked like Oregon had his number for a stretch, and then he looked really good again at the end. So I think he strengthened his Heisman campaign with that game. I would like a I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. So, unfortunately, I cannot provide you one. Okay, thanks, Winston's mom. I'm going to say Rachel's mom for some reason. Um, I see your channel, Lemonade. You got 649 subs, 724 videos. That's a pretty good amount of production. And you've been making stuff since 2020. You got 362,000 views. That's pretty good. Oh, a bottle of water. Well, let me rush into the kitchen and get you one right now. In just a second, I will bring that for you. You deserve a bottle of water if you want one. And I don't want to be declared a bad host, so let me just go get you a bottle of water. In fact, you can come with me. We'll go get it together. Here you go. One bottle of water for you. Now, you look to be fairly young, so I want you to look away for this next part of this video. where I will be doing stuff that's not age appropriate for you. Namely, I'm going to be smoking something. And smoking is very bad for you. Do not do it. Nor be influenced by me, your life's role model, Eric. You're looking away, right? I hope so. Probably already gone. People have pretty short attention spans, as my success with shorts demonstrates. I can put a short up that's like 6 seconds long that says, I can't blame this big truck for going so slow. I can't blame this truck for going so slow with all those big logs on it. And I found this truck in front of me with logs on it. It gets 3,500 views. A truck with logs on it driving in front of me. And me just saying, well, I guess the truck's going slow down this road because it's got all those big logs on it. That's going to get me 3,500 views. It's like, I even shot the video through my bug-splattered windshield. It's Hachi2O. Oh, that's another way to say water, huh? Hachi2O. Yeah, it's ridiculous the things that people watch that get thousands of views. Some of them it makes a little sense, like, oh, that's a pretty snappy one, funny joke or whatever. but you know, my pot roast joke, which got 100+ likes, which is a shit ton for shorts for the amount of views it got, which is like 2,500. That got like 1,000 less views than that log short, and that log short got much fewer than 100 likes. So that pot roast joke got a slamming like percentage for a short. Maybe the best I've ever gotten, I'm not sure. I don't recall ever seeing more than 100 likes for any video, any short that had fewer than 10,000 views before. I could have done better things with those 2 out of order signs. It was unfortunate because the thing is, I had stopped previously at a gas station that had an out of order sign, and the other gas pumps were all occupied. So I said, fuck it, I'll just keep going until I get to the next gas station, right? The next gas station I got to, it wasn't the very next one I saw. It wasn't that urgent, you know. Well, when I got to the next Valero station, I went in there, and that was the one that had the 2 out of order signs. But because between the 2 places, I thought to myself, I wish I had made a short with that out of order sign, saying something like, an out of order sign is synonymous with an in with chaos sign. You know, expressing that sentiment in some fashion. But so then when I got to the 2 out of order signs, and instead of taking any advantage of the fact that there were 2 obviously very, like, one of these signs was redundant, okay? They were both equally big. Either of them was plenty adequate to inform the people that this gas pump was out of order. Instead of taking any advantage of the duplicate out of order sign, I foolhardily just made the same short I'd been thinking of, and hadn't even refined it any. If I were to say that same short now, I'd say it like this: an out of order sign is telling us. An out of order sign tells us that this is in with chaos. That's how I would have said it. And how you phrase things matters a lot. Also, how you deliver it. When I just half-ass it, you know, I'm not as happy with the product. I don't know if it necessarily has much impact on views. It depends. If you fuck it up, obviously, then it won't have many views. But if you have some wiggle room of shittiness to still get away with it, But like when I made my most recent short upload, which stated that USC coach Lincoln Riley could replace the offensive line with a bunch of little girls, and Caleb Williams would still have more time to throw the ball. I did several takes of it trying to get the intonation, cadence of it the way I wanted it. I still wasn't super happy with it in the very final incarnation of it, but it's the one I went with. Because I'm not happy with the offensive line play. It was embarrassing. It was what happened to us to get beat that badly by Notre Dame. Oh. And I feel like we got out coached on both sides of the ball too. But interestingly, I think offense got out coached more than defense did. So in other words, the defensive coordinator of Notre Dame, Al Golden, I think his name is, he came up with a hell of a scheme. Well, we did get a little bit of meow meow in my meow, a little bit of meow meow in my meow. We got a little bit of Jeff Shaw coming to pay us a little visit, and under a pseudonym, but I'm quite confident it was he. And he just said how I think I'm smart, but I'm not. Even though I wasn't even saying anything that anybody would ever think was smart. I was just making a joke about a rhinoceros psychologist versus a gynecologist. Nobody would say that was trying to sound smart. Made it quick short. Check out these guitar strings. There you go. I've noticed that the ones that I've made involving any piece of construction equipment seem to do well. Like if you pass some cone putters and you found like a big truck scooping up something, and you say something like, "I can't believe that yellow truck has such a big scooper on it," that'll get a lot of views. And then, people who know about construction stuff will comment, "Oh, that's a Zager 2400. It's got a load capacity of £1,000. Good to know." So, people like big truck, big bra. And people also like to inform obviously uninformed observer about the specifics of that thing. Like this happened earlier tonight, like on the log video. Somebody chimed in for with a comment like a logger maybe. I don't know, saying nice, look to be about 40 to 50-year-old trees. It's just something else like that. I actually left quite a long reply to his comment, which is not something I normally do at all. because it made me think. I was like, huh, it's not like we get a lot of logging around here. All the privately held land is surrounded by national forest. So I guess it must have been some private land owner who either decided to sell some of the trees on his land to a logging company, or he just wanted to cut them down and get rid of them to maybe make way for a meadow or something. This speculation I just voiced to you was what I left as a reply to that guy. More than he wanted to know, I'm sure. But, his comment made me think, why are there, why is there logging? Like, where is these, Rachel, do you remember seeing logging trucks around here before? I don't know. Yeah, it has to. Well, you're in San Antonio, so that's an advantage you have because shorts that don't really necessarily do very well. Okay, now remind me what question I asked you, Rachel. Oh, logging truck. Never mind. I remember now. Okay. That the nature ones don't seem to do very well. People want to see objects, you know. Obviously, you can do very well in a short when you've got pretty girl as thumbnail. So some of the shorts that I've made that involve Rachel, like I guess what I'm referencing here is shorts I made on the Ferris wheel. The one that had Rachel's face featured as the thumbnail did a lot better than the ones that were just of the fair. But there's been other examples like that too. So it does help to have a pretty girl in your thumbnail. But if you don't have one on hand, and not everybody does, then people like to see like big or striking looking objects or something. I don't really understand it. It's a sensor thing. And of course, certain kinds of titles obviously do better than other kinds of titles. you know, I like to try to use a lot of ellipsed sentences. That must be the one. I'm not sure without looking at it, but I like to continue normal conversation as to not bring extra undue attention onto the person, that is, unless they're inconsolable. Oh, I see. This is the continuation of a conversation. If you walk into a room and you perceive or sense someone is sad, do you make a beeline for them or ask their friend what is wrong, or would you notice immediately or later? I may not directly ask what is wrong. I'd quietly figure out generally what the deal is. Then I'd adjust depending on the situation. Usually continue normal conversation. I like to continue normal conversations to not bring extra undue attention and thereby stress potentially onto the person. That is, unless they're inconsolable. In which case you'll say, "Stop being such a little bitch!" Right? Um, Really be like, "Oh my god, You are such a baba. Da ba a baba. I want to say that one time in the supermarket when I see a lady pushing a baby around. I want to go up to their cars and say to the baby, "Stop being such a baby." The mom says, "Oh my God, you are such a baba." That would be a good thing to say. Oh my God, you're been such a baba. And they go, "Ah, sir." That's why it's dangerous for us to take Tiffany out places with us, because if she is a baby crying in the supermarket, she'll march right up to that baby and be like, "Stop march on a baba." I'll have to go and pull her away. She tries to get into a fight with the mom. Which is what my son upstairs has been in the morning the baby talk. It's hard to say. I don't know. Probably. I mean, most people baby talk to their pets. I would say a majority of people do that. Maybe a large majority of people do that. Most people don't baby talk to their coworkers. Say a tiny fraction of the population does that. Say a relatively small percentage of the population baby talks to their romantic partner. Oh, my little schmookums. I never talked to Rachel like that. That just seems very strange, but it must be an FI thing. Anyway, if you're just limiting it to that one, I would guess you got to be FI and not FE. Not FE absolute value for sure. If you speak to your partner in baby talk, certainly any place anybody else could possibly hear it, but maybe even when it's just the two of you, it just seems so cringy. But um but talking to your pet in baby talk, well, I'm pretty sure almost every pet owner does that, right? Because you can't talk to them in regular talk because they don't understand regular talk. Whereas they do understand baby talk. I like talking to babies in adult talk too, actually. Hello there, little baby. How are you doing today? Rather severe weather we're having, no? That's how I introduce myself to babies. They all have the name Little Baby until about 6, 7, 8 months old. At the youngest, maybe as late as 9 months old. They all respond to Little Baby. Then, after that, they all respond to Small Child for a little while. Then after Small Child, they respond to Young Child. Then Middle Schooler, high schooler, and then everybody responds to adult. So I don't know your name, and I want to get your attention. I'll say adult, and you'll know I'm talking to you or one of the other adults present. Anyway, I'm still trying to get from middle school to high school myself in terms of my age. I'm well behind my original classmates who have graduated well into middle age by now. Unfortunately, these stages of life are determined by maturity, not age. So I'm kind of fucked, you know. I was surprised they let me move up to middle school eventually. Love you. Wait, have you read the news today, baby? Isn't it, have you read the news today, oh boy? About some shit that happened over there? I heard the news was like, nah. Well, I was just like, whatever. I love turpentine. Woke up, I fell out of bed. I dragged a comb across my head. Made the bus 10 seconds flat. I made the bus 10 seconds flat. That was where I thought one lady was sang that song. I'm not rats in a tent. Why did she sing that song? Did people tell her you are rats in a tent? She said, oh, I'm not rats in a tent. I guess that's why she wrote that song. I guess you're right, Tiffany. Rachel reminded me of that recently. It's pretty funny. But I tell you what was hilarious is when Susan finally reveals that she actually is a rhinopsychologist herself. And then everybody says, Susan, with their hands on their hips. And then after work, they all go see the just released in theaters Chutes, Ladders, and Horror. Ladders go to heaven, chutes go to hell. which they all agreed was terrible. One of them went home and wrote on Facebook, "Oh my God, I just saw the worst movie. Do not go see Shoots, Ladders, and Horror." I hope next week's movie, Helen Keller, NBA point guard, is a better success than this week's. The week after that, we're going to go see Home More, the musical, the movie. Home More, the musical, the movie. I mean, Home More is already a musical. It doesn't have a non-musical form. What we've done is we've hired the songwriter responsible for the brilliant Menopause the musical and asked them to direct their talents towards our concept, Home More, the musical, the movie. It's never been produced on Broadway or anything, so it's never actually appeared in musical form, but we went straight ahead with the movie anyway. We didn't have any songs or script to start out with, but what we had was a vision. My charade for Menopause the musical. I don't remember doing a charade for Menopause the musical. Let's see. What would be an appropriate charade for Menopause the musical? 3 words. Third word. And then you guess musical. Let's say first word. And you'd say menopause. Oh, it was like that? I have no recollection of doing it. Well, and then I just have to get the. I don't know how I do the. That was charades, yes. No one's wrong. The first word was not penis watch, in part because that's 2 words. Hi, Eliana Diaz. Well, I've been known to wag my finger on an occasion or two. Oh, I should take probably a couple of times. I think I need to drink more fluids. I think I'm a little dehydrated. All right, well, if we're playing charades, let me do another charades then. So let me think of like a movie or something. Okay, trouble wants. This will be good. We'll do charades in the kitchen. There's good lighting in the kitchen. Here I am, Mr. Man. Okay. I've got a let's see, a movie in mind. Let's see. Okay. The movie I have in mind. Okay. It's going to be a hard, well, maybe an easy one. One word. Okay. First word. Well, okay. One word. I don't know how to say first syllable. First syllable. Okay. Well, actually, it's really going to be hard. Okay. One word. No, it's not rain. Okay. Well, you're I don't think I'm going to be able to do this one. Okay, let me try it this way. Second part of the word. Okay. Second part of the word is man. I'm being a man, okay? Alright, never mind. I'm never gonna get this one done. Aquaman is too hard of a movie to charades. Aquaman's just too difficult. Alright, let me try something else. Alright, this is... Alright, I got another movie in mind. Are you ready? Here we go. Here's our other movie. Next movie. Five words, okay? There's 5 words in this title. Second word. Okay, all right, second word. What do you think the second word is? Ruben Ark, you got it. Fast. Okay, second word is fast. Who can guess the movie now? Ruben Ark got it. The Fast and the Furious. Okay. Now, I'm going to do another movie. It's, let's see. That would be impossible to do. Okay. All right. This one is, it's a movie, but I'm going to give you an additional hint. It was first a book. Okay? It's 3 words. The first word is this. Pride. Chris got it. What's the movie? Pride and Prejudice. Yes. Good job, everybody. Ruben may have said the answer, but I think Chris Chapman is really the one who figured it out. Once you get Pride, and I told you it's a movie and a book, it's pretty easy. Not a lot of movies start with Pride, besides Bride. Men in Black. I like that guess. That's a good guess. Okay. Think of another movie to do. Another thing of some sort. Okay, this is something you do. Okay, something you do. What is it? Shopping for what? Shopping for what? Hoarding. Hassan, I think you get credit for this one. Like your response of hoarding. No, you're shopping for groceries, Ruben. You're grocery shopping. That's why I'm pushing a grocery cart, okay? God. Okay, here's something a person does, okay? What is that? No, not fishing. Not quite. No, not pirating. You guys, I'm whaling, obviously. I'm whaling. How could you not be able to see that I'm whaling? No, I'm whaling. Because I've got a passion for scrimshaw. Okay. Now what am I doing? This is another thing that people do. What am I doing? My thing is, I have a tendency to not breathe when I'm doing the charades for some reason. I am picking up chicks. That's right, Winston's mom. I'm picking up a chick at a bar. That's what I was doing. Good job. You win that one. Let's see. Okay. Now what am I doing? I'm going to do it this way now. Okay, I'll show you again. What am I doing? Picking tickets at Dave and Buster's, huh? No. Um, no. Winston's mom, you got part of the concept. I am bicycling, but that's not the end of what I'm doing. I am bicycling off the edge of a cliff. It should have been very obvious to everybody. um, I guess I'm done with charades now. Because you guys were so bad at it. So now I'm done with it. If you guys have been better at it, then I would want to do charades forever, but no, not really. Charades is pretty sensory thing. it's funny. It's like I was like, why am I getting so winded? And I realized it's because every time I do any charade, I stop breathing. It's like you're not allowed to breathe when you're acting or something. Do I support gays? Do you mean like, do I have dependents who are gay? No, I have no such dependents. Rather to my disappointment, I'd long hoped that my daughter would turn out to be a lesbian, but she didn't. Well, you know, they don't have to stay here if they don't want to. I'm not talking about anything inappropriate. To the best of my knowledge. Yeah, it's not usually family friendly, but sometimes it's more crass than others. And to the extent that it's age inappropriate, it's almost exclusively because of crass jokes, you know. I can't imagine any other. We don't really have any frank, serious discussions about sex very often. So I don't know. It must just be adult jokes. Plus some adult themes, like going to the library. That's a very adult theme. You've got to be pretty old if you're still going to the library. Unless you're bigoted against Vikings. Because they should stop invading people with longboats. bigot. What an interesting word. Bigot. Where did that word come from? What's the etymology of that word? It's like, you think of three words with big in it: big, bigamy, and bigot. They don't really seem to have anything in common with them, except both bigamy and bigotry are considered bad, usually by a majority of people anyway. I wonder if they all have distinct etymologies. Perhaps they do. Big comes from the Greek word bigatius, meaning of large size. Bigot comes from the Scandinavian word bigotas, which means person who hates reindeer. And bigamist comes from the Philippines, in which tribe chiefs with more than 6 wives are known as bigamatatatas. Those would be 3 separate etymologies. I just wanted to exemplify the reality that I hope to discover if I ever think to actually look it up. It wouldn't have to be exactly that. In fact, it would be very unlikely to be exactly that, since I just made all those up. But if it were exactly that, that would be some impressive making random shit up luck, right? It's like, wow, those actually turned out to be exactly the etymologies, countries of origin, words of origin. You pronounced them all correctly. Wow. More likely, though, those are just placeholders for a dream that is possible. 3 separate origin stories for 3 separate words, each of which starts with the syllable big. And when I encounter on the Google the truth that, in fact, I'm right, there are 3 separate origins, then I'm going to say, Eureka! And raise my hand in triumph. It would all be like Madame Curie, the moment she discovered she had incurable cancer. Ba-da-ba-ba. Madame Curie's jokes. They never really go out of style. Just like Amelia Earhart jokes never really go out of style. What do you get when you cross Amelia Earhart and Madame Curie? A woman who disappears from radiation poisoning. Oh, wait, that's just Madame Curie. It's spelled Eureka. Big O Mother's houses is German for Brexit. That's a pretty good joke, Asamo. I am warning you, even while I am a little skeptical of because we get a lot of trolls around here. But I am awarding you a wonder point. And if you turn out to just be a troll, I'm pretty sure you will be the first troll to have ever been awarded a wonder point. What do you want, Meows a Lot Bear? Slightly hungover. Just from healthy living? I knew that's what you get high on, Boba Fett, is healthy living. Who's Bread? I don't see any Bread here. Bread's a good name for a YouTube person. Or just a person in general. If Rachel and I have a child, we're going to name it Bread. Did I watch any anime today? Not very much. I have, which is not a bad thing. It means when I want to binge, I'll have plenty of things to look at. I watched, what did I watch today? Oh, I watched Firefighter Daigo, Rescuer in Orange. I watched Let Me Talk Through first. But then after that, I was working on this video that I'm making that I still haven't finished. I work on some more tomorrow, maybe. And then I watched football. Bread Martinez is a good name. For sure. But I think Bread Garcia rolls off the tongue better. Bread Garcia. It sounds like the name of, I don't know, a bread-loving macho detective working out of El Paso, Texas. It's Jay. Hi, Jay. Yeah. Well, Bread Garcia is garlic bread with acid on it. Yeah, could you get the garlic bread Garcia style, please? Hi, Misty Joy, Jay Dyer. I don't know who Jay Dyer is. Who is Jay Dyer? How do I feel today? I feel fine. I feel a little bit disappointed in USC's performance, I guess, now that I think about it. Oh, Jay Dyer is Jay-Z's real name? Huh. Well, Dyer doesn't start with a Z. Oh, Jay Dyer is an Orthodox Christian IHP with a great argumentation. But what's he arguing about? Religion, Christianity, or whatever? Because I'm not interested in hearing those kinds of arguments. As I have resolved all argumentational questions associated with that field of argumentation already. I feel fine today. Let's go to eat. I've already eaten. I think I might take a couple of these little low dose aspirins because I got kind of a clinchy face feeling. Not really a headache, just kind of like, you know, clinchy face. These are so low dose, maybe I'll take 3 of them. You know, who goes to the store to get analgesics and still gets aspirin, you know? Nobody really gets aspirin. People get Tylenol and or Advil primarily. But this is low-dose aspirin that I salvaged from my father's medicine cabinet after he passed away. Figured, I don't know, why throw away perfectly good aspirin? Right. Well, I don't need I mean, if he's making those kind of arguments in favor of Christianity, then he's wrong because I've already explained my argumentation that faith is a behavior, not an argument. That to the extent that one treats faith in God and Jesus as something to be substantiated argumentationally, um, one is engaging in hubris that attempts to subsume God to argumentation, which obviously is offensive and wrong. So just as we don't need to justify jogging, we just say, I'm jogging because I like to jog, or for whatever reason, no reason to justify it at all. So too with your expression of faith. In fact, it's offensive to God for you to try to justify faith with argumentation. But God's pretty easygoing. He doesn't get that offended, I'm sure. He just shakes his head and says, why won't these people just listen to Eric? He already has explained it all. Why it's silly to make those kind of arguments. I should say heated debate. J. Dyer versus T-Jump. Orthodox Christian versus idiot. Well, I mean, the best argument really for God's existence is, if you had to make such an argument, although it's not definitive or anything, it's not conclusive, it doesn't prove anything, but the best argument is that there is no reality except that which is observed. And barring a reality that's rendered independently on each individual's consciousness, and that phases out into unreality in the absence of individual human beings or some other sentient agent observing it. In other words, if we presume the universe continues doing its thing even when we're not looking at it, then there must be some grand observer that can observe everything concurrently. That's the best argument there is. But well, the fact that we're reasoned beings and that it seems to you that it's clear there's a purpose to existence does not any reason include that God made us that way. And just because one can reason to God doesn't mean that we should consider God's existence proved. In fact, the notion of arguing about something's existence is a very strange phenomenon exclusive to arguments about God. It exists for individual people who exercise the behavior of faith. So it's like, if you're trying to ask the question, but does it exist independently of those people and their faith? Well, then you're misunderstanding the nature of faith, which is belief without argumentational support. If you believe in God because it's been proven to you argumentationally, then that cannot be God you believe in. After all, that would subsume God to human argumentation. In other words, it would be God abdicating the faith component of the relationship, which is a necessary component for the thing we're having a relationship with to be called God. So, trust me, I've done all of the argumentation. I've heard every single argument on the subject. I'm the I the until and unless somebody presents some compelling, shockingly new, not a variation of some existing argument for God's existence, I have a full accounting of them all. And it always comes back to the same point, which is if it doesn't require faith, it's not God. Okay, but I don't want to go figure out why this other person is wrong, etc. I'm sure he is very high IQ, but he has an agenda, right? He wants to prove God's existence. I want to be correct about everything. So what I've done is point out that it's insane to think that you can argumentationally substantiate a God that definitionally requires you to have faith, which requires belief in the absence of argumentation. That's just logically impossible. It's as possible as God making a rock so big he can't lift it, right? Even God can't do the logically impossible. So it's logically, definitionally impossible to prove God's existence and still have what you prove be God. And accordingly, it's insane to engage in the practice. Well, he can learn from me. That's what he needs to do. You think I should learn from him, but he needs to learn from me. I just articulated it. Bam, that's the whole fucking thing. There's no answer to that question. No answer to that point I'm making, right? You can try to find faith as something other than what it is, but, you know, you can't have it be God without requiring faith, and you can't be faith without there being an absence of argumentational proof. So, sorry, God arguers, you are all stuck with that. We are all stuck with it. Live with it. You're barking up entirely the wrong tree to think that anything good can possibly come of you trying to prove God's existence. It's like, do you think if you keep working hard enough, eventually you're gonna outsmart God and catch him? Well, he's been trying to hide from our proofs for all of human existence, but we finally caught him. Now we've unmasked you, God. No longer you require any faith. Here, look at the telescope. We even located exactly where he is. See? See that big gray bearded smiling face up there next to Sagittarius 4? That's God. Wow. And we can determine all of his specific qualities and everything? Yeah, totally. Oh. Well, what makes him God then? Well, he can shoot massive fireballs. You should see the size of him. Well, I mean, he wasn't even smart enough to hide his to maintain the necessary link of faith. He let himself get caught. I'm not that impressed. I don't care how smart you are. You're not smarter than God. And God said we're saved through faith. Whatever comes after it not works is irrelevant. That sentence right there, if you agree with that sentence, then you also agree that attempts to prove God's existence with argumentation are both hubris and stupid. And that's why when every single argument's about God, because I've got the best position one person can have, If I didn't want to attribute falsely, I would say it was divinely inspired. There. Now do you believe me? If that song didn't convince you, you can't be convinced. There's a thin line between giving thanks to God for a person's success and saying that a given thing is divinely inspired. So I give thanks to God for allowing me to figure out all this shit. But I wouldn't say that my words are divinely inspired. I give credit to God without claiming his infallibility. If you say you're a prophet who's hearing this directly from God and that everybody else should take your words as though they came from God, then you can fuck off. Now, that middle finger, I do believe, was divinely inspired. Because God, I'm pretty confident, feels similarly to me about this matter. Yeah, like I said before. Well, we don't have an explanation for our universe. God does not comprise an explanation. The fact that we have no other explanation is not evidence of God. And most importantly, to prove something's existence, you have to define it. Set criterion need to be met in order for the proof to be attained. And trying to define God is to trying to constrain him definitionally into a box. It's like racism on the celestial level. Celestial racism. That's what I call proving God. Celestial racism. You don't want to be a celestial racist, do you? Oh, you think you're going to define me just because my race is God? You don't know me. So anyway, you know, it's Halloween, coming up on Halloween. So if we're going to be talking Christianity in general, I think we really should be talking about the Holy Ghost. This is his time of year. Jesus gets Christmas. God gets July 4th. Okay, well, good for the Bible. And yea, there shall be some things happening. No, heaven never used fax machines. Okay? Fax machines are not nearly elegant enough for heaven to use. Heaven sent lightning fast messenger doves. That's how they transported messages down. The Ten Commandments, while being written on a big stone tablet, were actually carried down from heaven by a messenger dove. That's how strong heavenly messenger doves are. Boba Fett, can we stop with the anti-Semitic nonsense, please? I don't like that at all. Do not approve of it. I agree with Servant King that there aren't many versions of the Bible, there are many translations. But some of those translations are very liberal in their translating, you know. They don't make a very good effort to be faithful to the text of the original, the oldest versions of the documents available, you know. But you know, King James, I like the King James Bible too. It reads nice, you know. It reads fancy. But interesting to note, King James himself actually used the Gideon's Bible. So people have long wondered why they called it the King James Bible. But the reason is because he said, hey, make me a Bible. And they did. And then he's like, they published it and said King James Bible on it. And he got a copy. He's like, I don't like this at all. So he just started reading Gideon's Bible after that. That was the last time he commissioned a Bible, I'm going to tell you. This was a huge waste of money. But, you know, it was less of a ill-advised approach towards his reign as monarch than, say, King Henry VIII, who instead of commissioning a Bible, just killed all his wives. These dumb wives keep making girls. What's wrong with girls? They don't have penises. Oh, well. You know, it's not their fault that they're making girls, right? Of course it's their fault. The girls are coming out of their vaginas. Okay. You don't really know how human reproduction works, do you, King Henry VIII? No, it's like the Middle Ages or something. You want who to be a Christian? The apostate prophet? I've never heard of that. I mean, I've said my point. I'm not going to bother repeating it. You're not listening to me. So, anyway, at least you're not hostile like somebody else was who insisted on invalidating my Christianity. Which I didn't like at all. I mean, that guy was hostile all the time, but I let it go, I let him stick around until he was hostile about my Christianity, insisting I didn't count as a real Christian, etc. At which point I banned his fucking ass. I said to myself, what would Jesus do? And Jesus said, I probably wouldn't ban him. I said, well, I'm not you, Jesus. You're banned, motherfucker. Just like that. Jesus, please forgive me for banning Bobby earlier. Well, my son, why don't you just unban him then? Thank you for your forgiveness. Goodbye. Christ be with you too. May he go with you to Subway tomorrow when you get a foot-long sandwich. May he be the vinegar on your sandwich. That's what really gives it the tang it needs, is vinegar. People think, the tang's coming from their mustard, right? A lot of the tang in mustard comes from vinegar. And if you just put vinegar on it without any other condiment, it'll still be moist enough that you can just eat it like that. But I typically put vinegar and mustard because I like vinegar. A 3-inch sandwich. I think they call that a finger sandwich. Okay, Boba Fett, I don't know what's going on with you today, but will you stop that shit, please? Servant King has to go to the playa. He's got to go to the playa today. He's gonna samba with his Brazilian friends down at the playa. There's no such thing as parasite anymore. It went away like, I don't know, like 75 years ago or something. Update your maps already, Boba Fett. I think the Mr. Bobby sandwich is a slice of lemon with the rind still on in between 2 saltine crackers. That's a Mr. Bobby. The Jeff Shaw, of course, is highly salted onions between 2 pieces of stale bread. But what is that sound? What's going on around here? Rachel, are you upstairs?
Yes.
Oh.
Coming back down.
That's where that sound is. I was like, where is that sound coming from? I said, what is that sound? Where is it coming from? All around. What are you running from? Yeah, hangovers will make you feel like a 2-course meal comprising a Jeff Shaw and a Bobby sandwiches. Well, there's no special orders on either of these sandwiches, Ruben. It's just right on the menu. No special orders. Jackfruit. Well, that is like the Michael Smith. It's just a hunk of raw jackfruit peeled and set on a filthy paper plate. Really? He comes in here and reads the chat? Well, what makes you think so? Oh, well, there you have it. I guess you're right. Let's see, are you looking for mention of him? Well, he'll be thrilled tonight because he'll learn that we made a sandwich from him. Yeah, he came up a bit because of that Christian guy. What is this thing that Christians have of being obsessed with proving Christianity? I don't understand what it is. I've explained to them that you can't prove something that requires faith, obviously, and they just ignore me. Now, you think Chris Chan is the reason why Christians are so interested in proving things? Because Chris Chan is a promoter of proof. Hi, I'm Chris Chan, bringing you the message today again. Only believe things that are proved. Can I still believe I love my family? Nope. You can't prove it, do not believe it. Can I still go jogging? Nope. Can't prove you should, therefore you can't. Wow, this is a harsh new reality I've come to inhabit. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is pull one more bong rip. And then I think I will probably stop live streaming. Buddhist ninja, Buddhist ninja. I only kill assassination victims. It's my Buddhist way. Well, I've been streaming for 2 hours. I've shot my streaming load. I'm not really on any amphetamines at all, really, at this point. I took some at like 6 this morning, but I only took 30 milligrams, and then I took the last 10 milligrams and smoked it on top of bong rips, which was probably a bit of a waste, but you know, sometimes I'm a little wasteful. Just like Jessica Simpson, who's known for throwing away every article of clothing she has after wearing it just one time. Sometimes she'll only have it on for 15 minutes and straight to the dumpster it goes. People said, Jessica Simpson, why don't you give your clothes to charity? She says, no, they're filthy trash once they've been worn. Not even poor people should wear these. Don't just put them in the trash. Put a bunch of burn marks on them and stuff so that nobody can possibly use it. Her assistant's like, you know, Jessica Simpson really feels strongly about the importance of only wearing, for every article of clothing in the world, ideally, in her opinion, should ever only be worn one time and then destroyed in a respectful way, like the flag, by putting burn holes in it and throwing it in the dumpster. Delilah Elias? I don't know who that is. Oh, you mean Eliana Diaz? From now on, it is Eliana Diaz. You are now Delilah Elias. Delilah Elias is a great name. Oh, it's not an anagram because you have no H in your name. You gig it now? Yeah. I'll tell you who's even an even bigger litterer than her. Justin Timberlake. He requires every time he walks on the carpet for them to throw it away and get a new carpet. Boba Fett, you're not hungover. You are drunk. You're just pushing all the wrong buttons tonight. You don't have your braces anymore? Well, that must have been nice to get them off, huh? Uh, you no longer have to worry about getting food caught in them. So, let me pull this bummer. And maybe one more bummer. Yeah, well, well, with that, braces, well, I'm just gonna leave it at that. That's all I'm gonna do. Just gonna leave that alone. um, Delilah, I don't know what she's drinking now. She normally gets drinks from Starbucks. She has certain Starbucks drinks she likes, but Rachel, if we go to like a boba tea place, she'll get uh that stuff that tastes like hay. What's it called? Charmander? What's that green stuff? Matcha. Matcha tea she'll normally get. And she doesn't normally get bobas in her tea. Because I don't think either of us likes bobas very much. I find them just pointless. They just chew things that they're just pointless. Okay. 15 African presidents who were assassinated in the most dangerous ways. Top discovery. The reason this has 1.4K views in 5 hours is because the thumbnail I expect is a dude in the picture, but he looks kind of like a large woman with boobs that you can almost see nipples of. I bet that's the main reason it has so many views. People think, oh, there's indigenous nudity. There's not any indigenous nudity. Well, can we not play that game? I mean, I get it that the Palestinians got a raw deal and everything, but I don't know why you'd side with Islamists. You know, you can make a case, sure, that something should be done. They should be returned to having authority over themselves, some kind of independent state, maybe, or whatever. But you're not going to get any sympathy from any decent person when you purposely target innocent civilians. Israel is at least making some effort to attain an understandably appropriate necessary outcome as a sovereign nation state, regardless of what we think about the justice of the matter. International politics is a realism realm. It's like you gotta be pragmatic sometimes. And in this instance, Israel should be pragmatic by giving the Palestinians some land and saying, "Here, have your own fucking country. Stop. It won't cost us anything anymore. Hopefully." And then just respect that border. And then if they still attack you, well, then it's another nation state attacking you. You can go to war on them and fuck them up. That's a sensible thing to do. Okay, well, you voicing support for militant extremism has earned you a timeout. And coincided with the end of this stream as well. Good night, everybody, and have a wonderful evening.